Capricorn, July 2025 will reshape everything if you're paying attention. There's a reason why the universe stays silent for so long before delivering Capricorn their moment. It's not because you're forgotten, it's because your breakthrough must arrive with precision, and that time is now. Capricorn, have you felt it? That subtle shift in the air, that pressure building behind the scenes of your life, like something quietly rearranging the furniture of your destiny? It's not just your imagination, it's July 2025, and this isn't just a change in season, it's a rare and cosmic turning point that hasn't visited your chart in nearly a decade. A moment when the universe is not just whispering your name, it's orchestrating a sequence of events tailored to everything you've been patiently building toward. And yet, not everyone will recognize it. That's the thing about Capricorn. Your blessings often arrive in disguise. They don't come with flashing lights or easy applause. They come wrapped in responsibility, precision, and divine timings. And that's what makes this month unlike any other. 12 celestial alignments, each designed specifically for your sign, are converging to unlock a chain reaction of elevation, empowerment, and revelation. Let me be clear, this is not astrology as entertainment. This is a master-level cosmic configuration, the kind that requires your attention, your readiness, and your courage. Because Capricorn, you've been climbing a mountain most people can't even see, and this July, the summit finally reveals itself, not because you asked for it, but because you've earned it. I've spent years studying the Capricorn archetype in American astrology, and even longer studying the patterns of Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune as they weave through the charts of high achievers, silent builders, and visionary leaders. And when I looked at July 2025, what I saw stopped me cold. Saturn, your ruling planet, is shifting from restriction into reward. Jupiter is casting light over your career path. Mercury, Mars, and even Neptune are stepping into rare, harmonized placements that haven't touched your chart like this since 2013. But here's what's even more astonishing. Every one of these planetary movements is speaking Capricorn's language. They're not calling you to become someone new. They're rewarding you for being exactly who you are: methodical, resilient, introspective, strategic, visionary, even when the world called it cold or too much. If you've been sensing that something is finally aligning, that your sacrifices weren't in vain, you're right. This is your month, and it won't just bring good vibes. It will bring turning points, financial shifts, relationship breakthroughs, psychic revelations, and for some of you, a karmic encounter that will change the direction of your next 10 years. So in this video, we're going to walk through the 12 cosmic doors that are opening for you, Capricorn, one by one. But I want you to listen not just with hope, but with intention. Each blessing I'll uncover has a key, a lesson, a pattern, an opportunity that only you will know how to use. And by the end of this video, you'll understand something most people don't. Capricorn's timing isn't late, it's perfect. Because while the world celebrates fireworks in July, you'll be building something more lasting, the foundation of your next chapter. Let's begin. Reason 1, Saturn ends retrograde. The mountain moves. Capricorn, you know better than anyone that time is never wasted when you're building something that lasts. For the past several months, you've likely felt like you've been climbing in the dark, pushing forward with little feedback, carrying weight that others couldn't see. Projects stalled, recognition delayed. The world around you kept moving, yet your own progress felt frozen. But here's the truth few will say out loud. You weren't stuck, you were being refined. And now, finally, Saturn, your ruling planet, is waking up. On July 17th, Saturn ends its retrograde motion, unleashing a wave of forward movement in an area of your life that has felt blocked for far too long. And this isn't just any planetary shift, it's Saturn, the cosmic taskmaster, the architect of destiny, realigning in a way it hasn't done in this part of your chart since 2016. And the energy? It's seismic. It's like a dam breaking open, not with chaos, but with purposeful release. Where you once met resistance, now doors begin to open. That client who kept dragging their feet, suddenly they respond. And this time, with urgency. That email you thought had vanished into silence, it returns, but now with interest, support, and clarity. And the vision you've been holding in your heart, Saturn begins making room for it, not just in theory, but in reality. Let me tell you a story. A Capricorn man I once worked with, let's call him Thomas, spent 4 years developing a startup idea that nobody believed in. Investors said it was too niche. Colleagues advised him to let it go. But Thomas, being Capricorn to his core, kept building, silently, strategically. Then, almost overnight, and precisely during a similar Saturn station, the tide shifted. A single LinkedIn message from a former client turned into a major partnership. Today, that idea is a $12 million business. Was it luck? No. It was Saturn. And more importantly, it was Saturn responding to his consistency. That's what July brings you, Capricorn. Not magic, not hype, justice. Saturn doesn't bless what's flashy, it blesses what's earned. And this time, the rewards come not in small increments, but in waves that accelerate with each step you take forward. Think of it like walking across a bridge that builds itself as you move. Each step reveals the next stone, but only if you take it. You might ask, how do I recognize this energy shift in real life? Watch your inbox, especially between 3 and 12 p.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. in the week around July 17th. Yes, really. Those are hours astrologers have long tracked for Saturn-based communications. Pay attention to conversations where someone unexpectedly praises your long-term consistency. Saturn loves to speak through recognition of discipline. And most of all, trust the places where you feel something beginning to flow again. If you've been stuck, expect release. If you've been overlooked, expect spotlight. And if you've been faithful to your principles while others chased shortcuts, this is where the tables turn. Because Saturn doesn't reward ambition alone, it rewards integrity. It rewards those who stayed silent while others bragged. It rewards those who worked the late hours, stayed in alignment, and chose the long road when the easy one was tempting. This isn't the end of your climb, Capricorn. But July marks a pivot. The terrain changes, the incline softens, the air gets clearer, and the summit, you'll see it for the first time in years. So don't stop now, not when the mountain finally begins to move. For you. Reason 2. Venus and Jupiter unlock your financial flow. Capricorn, let's be honest. When it comes to money, you don't chase it. You build it. You don't wait for luck. You create structure, security, longevity. That's your code. So when the cosmos aligns to bring sudden financial blessings into your life, it's not because you stumbled into fortune. It's because the universe has finally caught up to your vision. Around July 12th to 14th, something extraordinary happens in your financial chart. Venus forms a rare trine with Jupiter, activating what ancient astrologers referred to as the Golden Gate, a sacred geometry between the planets of love and expansion. But this isn't about romance or mere optimism. For Capricorn, it unlocks something far more powerful, new access to wealth through wisdom. But here's what sets this alignment apart. It doesn't ask you to gamble. It doesn't tempt you with illusions. Instead, it presents you with a moment of crystal clear recognition, a resource, opportunity, or skill you've been overlooking, sitting quietly in your life like an unopened vault. Think of this energy as financial X-ray vision. Suddenly, you see what was always there. Let me share a real-life Capricorn story. I once coached a woman named Elise, an accountant by profession, but a Capricorn through and through. For years, she ran numbers behind the scenes for everyone else, building spreadsheets that saved companies millions. But no one had ever asked her what she wanted to build. Then, during a similar Venus-Jupiter window in 2017, something shifted. A client casually mentioned a problem their team kept having, and Elise, without even thinking, explained a system she'd created to solve it. That one conversation, it turned into a side business. That side business became a consulting empire. She made her first $100,000 in 3 months, not because she took a wild risk, but because she recognized the value of what was already in her hands. That's the gift of this alignment. You may receive a check, yes, a refund, a random bonus, but more importantly, you receive clarity, a new way to leverage what you already own. This could be a forgotten investment, an idea, a skill, or even an introduction that suddenly reveals its worth. And this time, your Capricorn instincts are sharpened. While others might chase trends, you'll sense what's real. You'll see what has roots, and that's your superpower. You don't just seek growth, you seek sustainability. What should you look out for? Unusual opportunities to monetize a skill you've always considered just something I'm good at. Conversations that reference financial systems, security, or long-term investments, especially around July 12th, 14th. Intuitive nudges about reorganizing your assets or budget, not to restrict yourself, but to realign with new goals. And most of all, a gut feeling that says, this could be big. Astrologically, this is your 7-year window. The last time this alignment hit like this, 2017. The next time, 2031. This isn't about speed, it's about positioning. The gate opens, but you must step through, and you'll know the right door because it doesn't feel like risk. It feels like recognition. Capricorn, this isn't the lottery. This is legacy. July is showing you that abundance doesn't always arrive with applause. Sometimes it shows up in a spreadsheet, a system, a handshake, a quiet idea that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and refuses to leave until you build it. And when Venus and Jupiter shake hands over your financial sector, that idea becomes gold. So ask yourself, what have I undervalued that could become valuable now? What resource have I been sitting on, waiting for the right time? Because here's the truth, the right time is here. Don't miss it. Reason 3. The full moon brings relationship clarity. Capricorn, you don't give your heart away easily. And when you do, it's not a fling, it's a commitment, it's legacy. But too often, your emotional depth is misunderstood. People see the armor, the cool composure, the measured words, and they assume you're distant, unavailable. What they don't see is the fierce loyalty beneath the surface, the storm of devotion you carry inside. On July 21st, the full moon enters your relationship house, and for the first time in a long time, something inside you is ready to be seen. But here's the truth. This isn't about romance alone. It's about connection, real soul-level connection with others and with yourself. This full moon doesn't just highlight how others relate to you, it reveals how you've been relating to your own truth. The energy brings clarity, and in some cases, confrontation. Because this isn't a gentle moon, it's a revealing one. If you've been silencing your needs for the sake of peace, expect those needs to rise. If you've been avoiding a necessary conversation, don't be surprised if the moment arrives, unplanned, raw, but perfectly timed. Let me share a story. There's a Capricorn woman I've known for years. Let's call her Nia. Quiet strength, a strategist in business, a fortress in love. For 5 years, she stayed in a relationship where she felt half visible. The partnership looked right, but something essential was missing. During a powerful full moon similar to this one, she had a dream, vivid, symbolic, emotional. When she woke, she knew her soul was asking for something deeper. That same week, her partner brought up feeling a disconnect. That conversation, painful but necessary, ended the relationship. But it also began something else, her reconnection to herself. Within 3 months, Nia met someone new, someone who matched her values, saw her fully, and honored her boundaries. Today, they're raising 2 children and building a life that feels earned, not just romanticized. This is what the July 21st full moon offers you, Capricorn. Not more chaos, but emotional truth. And in some cases, the release of what no longer honors that truth. Watch how communication flows around this time. Pay close attention to dreams, especially 2 to 3 days before and after July 21st. The subconscious doesn't lie under this moon. It delivers images, phrases, and symbols that cut through the noise. And for those of you who are single, this full moon is activating your house of significant others, but also business partnerships, mentorships, soul contracts. Someone may enter your life during this window who doesn't just interest you, they challenge you. They mirror your strengths. They awaken something dormant. It might feel like coincidence, a meeting at an event, a message from someone unexpected. But trust this, when the universe wants to shift your path, it doesn't scream, it whispers through timing. The energetic pattern behind this moon is profound. It's not chaotic. It's strategic. It creates what ancient astrologers called the cradle of manifestation, a moment when relationships that begin carry the potential to transform rather than just entertain. And if you're already in a relationship, this is your opportunity to rebuild the bridge, to clarify boundaries, to speak without armor. Conversations that felt impossible last month suddenly find the right words, because the full moon's light doesn't just illuminate others, it shines on you. Capricorn, you're so often the one holding others together, carrying the load, stabilizing the ground. But who holds you? This July, the answer may surprise you, because love, in all its forms, is about to become less complicated and more real. Don't be afraid to speak the truth that's been sitting quietly in your chest. This moon is listening, so is someone else. Reason 4. Mercury unlocks the alchemist's mind. Capricorn, logic has always been your shield and your sword. You've mastered the art of strategy. You read data like others read emotion. You don't just solve problems, you structure solutions. While others are reacting, you're already 5 steps ahead, quietly crafting a map no one else can see. But this July, something rare happens in your mind, something more powerful than analysis or intelligence alone. Mercury enters your 8th house, the house of shared resources, deep transformation, and hidden power, and activates what ancient astrologers called the alchemist's mind. Between July 9th and July 23rd, your thinking transforms from sharp to surgical. Your words begin to carry weight. Your insights land with unusual force. You no longer just interpret data. You see beneath it. You connect patterns others miss. This isn't random. It's Mercury meeting you at your level and taking you one level deeper. Here's the catch. This transit doesn't just boost your IQ, it awakens your intuition. You may begin to notice that your best ideas arrive not in front of spreadsheets, but in silence, in dreams, in the space between thoughts. And when you speak them, people pause, listen, respond. Let me tell you about Marcus, a Capricorn in the legal world I once consulted with. He was brilliant, traditional, always relied on precedent, research, structure. But during a Mercury transit through his 8th house, he began dreaming about a case he'd been stuck on. The dreams didn't make sense at first, abstract images, symbols, metaphors. But one morning, he awoke with a thought. What if the client isn't hiding the truth, they're protecting someone else? That intuition led to a new line of questioning. Within 2 weeks, he cracked the case, won it, made partner. He told me it wasn't my brain that figured it out. It was something deeper, something I'd been ignoring. Capricorn, you're about to experience this shift too. Not just better thinking, but deeper knowing. Mercury's 8th house transit sharpens your perception of what's hidden in contracts, negotiations, business deals, and yes, even in people. This is the time to revisit an old proposal. You'll see flaws you missed. Pitch a new concept. Your language now has gravity. Negotiate. From power, not pressure. Notice when someone seems off. Your instincts are laser precise. But perhaps most importantly, this Mercury transit isn't about control. It's about alchemy, the art of turning something ordinary into gold. That includes the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you frame the truth. You might discover a part of your business or creative work that's been sitting dormant, a course you could teach, a book idea, a rebrand. These aren't random thoughts. They're the voice of Mercury whispering, transform this, it's time. And for some of you, this mental clarity brings the realization that your mind has never been your enemy. Even when others said you were too serious, too intense, too skeptical, your brain was simply tuned to a deeper frequency. Now, that frequency becomes your superpower. So pay attention to what feels obvious right now, especially between July 9th and 23rd. That obvious idea, it might change your life. Because alchemy doesn't begin with fire, it begins with a spark, and Mercury just lit yours. Reason 5. Mars expands your network of power, Capricorn. For someone so often labeled as independent, here's the truth. You've never wanted to climb alone. You've just been waiting for the right people to climb with. Not everyone understands the weight of your vision, the patience it takes, the silence you've endured. That's why you've kept your circle small, protected, strategic. But this July, something changes. Mars enters your social house, igniting what astrologers call the network of opportunity, a rare cosmic alignment that doesn't just amplify your visibility, it upgrades your circle. From July 14th to July 27th, you may begin to notice new names, new invitations, new conversations, seemingly small, maybe even casual. But what looks like coincidence is actually cosmic choreography. People are being sent to you, people who recognize you, not just what you do, but why you do it. Let me share a story. A Capricorn man named Evan, software architect, quiet by nature, spent years building tools behind the scenes. His talent? Impeccable. But he wasn't a networker, never liked the spotlight. Then, one July, during a similar Mars transit, he was invited to a weekend hackathon. Reluctantly, he went. At that event, he met a young product manager who'd been following his code for months. They spoke, collaborated, and 6 months later, they co-founded one of the fastest-growing platforms in their industry. Today, Evan leads innovation for a Fortune 100 company, not because he chased influence, but because he answered the invitation. Capricorn, that's your moment now. Mars is igniting your natural leadership, but not through competition, through recognition. People will begin to see what you bring, not just your skills, but your steadiness, your discernment, your vision, and they'll want to align. But here's the cosmic trick. You won't find these connections by forcing. You'll find them by showing up where you're being pulled. Professional events, unexpected introductions, quiet messages from old colleagues, podcasts, online communities, a dinner you almost said no to, but something told you to go. The right people won't require you to be louder, flashier, or more outgoing. They'll be drawn to your substance. And here's the deeper magic. The connections you form this month, they're not one-off encounters. They're foundations, the kind that build collaborations, legacies, movements. Astrologically, this Mars transit aligns with the north node of your chart, meaning the people you meet now aren't just aligned with your present, they're aligned with your future. Watch for these signs. People who respect your time and energy without you needing to prove your worth. Conversations that flow naturally into shared goals or visions. An unusual invitation that feels small but stirs something big. This isn't about building a network of followers. It's about connecting with co-creators. So trust your instincts. If someone feels aligned, follow the thread. Because for Capricorn, success has never just been about ambition. It's been about alignment. Mars is now clearing the fog, drawing people toward you who recognize your worth, not because of a title, but because of your energy. And when the right network finds the right mountain goat, they don't just climb together, they build the entire range. Reason 6. Saturn and Neptune reveal the manifestation bridge. Capricorn, you've always walked the line between the tangible and the visionary. You build things others only dream of, not because you're lucky, but because you're willing to do the invisible work. But even you have dreams you've set aside, the ones that felt too far away, too risky, or too idealistic, the ones you whispered to yourself in private, then buried beneath responsibility. This July, the universe digs them back up, because on July 17th, Saturn, your ruling planet, aligns with Neptune, the planet of dreams, spirituality, and higher vision. And this cosmic moment opens a path few signs are ready to walk, but you are. Astrologers call it the manifestation bridge, a once-in-a-decade alignment that connects what is imagined with what is possible. But here's what makes it truly powerful for you, Capricorn. This isn't an invitation to escape into fantasy, it's an invitation to build your soul's calling with structure. Let me tell you about Dorian, a Capricorn artist who worked in corporate advertising. On the surface, he was successful, good income, prestigious clients, but quietly, for years, he dreamed of creating a spiritual art series, a blend of geometry, sacred symbols, and mythology. He shelved the dream, again and again. Then, during a previous Saturn-Neptune alignment, he began painting in secret. 1 paintings, then 2, then a dozen. Without trying to market anything, a gallery reached out. A collector from New York bought the entire series. Today, he's still in demand, not because he chased fame, but because he followed the bridge. Capricorn, you don't need to sacrifice your logic for this. You need to partner with it. Saturn brings the blueprint. Neptune brings the inspiration. Together, they reveal the staircase to dreams you thought were impossible. This is the time to revisit an old vision you shelved for later. Draft that idea that never left your mind, the business, the book, the healing practice. Journal, meditate, or walk in silence between July 15th and 19th, when insights may come as downloads rather than strategies. You may receive signs in strange ways, a lyric in a song that hits too close to home, a random encounter that reminds you of what you left behind, a sudden urge to finish something you abandoned. This is not coincidence, it's alignment. Capricorn, I know your skepticism is part of your strength. You don't leap without reason. But July doesn't ask you to leap blindly. It shows you how to leap with a plan. That's the miracle. Because what good is a dream if it can't survive reality? This bridge allows you to turn the dream into something that thrives under real pressure, something sustainable, enduring, and worthy of your legacy. And most importantly, it allows you to become whole, no longer split between who you are and what you imagine, no longer forced to choose between the soul and the schedule. For Capricorn, that's not just a gift, that's freedom. So take a moment this month to ask, what dream have I postponed, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't think I should? Because the universe is answering with one clear response: yes, Capricorn, you can. And now, you must. Reason 7. The sun illuminates your leadership and legacy. Capricorn, you've spent years doing the work, not for applause, not for fame, but because you were building something only your soul could see. You didn't ask to be seen, but you deserve to be recognized. And in July, the sun agrees. Between July 13th and 27th, the sun enters a position in your chart that astrologers refer to as the Emperor's spotlight. It's not about ego, it's about alignment. This is the moment when your outer achievements catch up to your inner authority, when the world starts to see what you've been quietly mastering for years. This is not just visibility, it's vindication. Suddenly, the ideas they once ignored, they're center stage. The efforts they overlooked, now undeniable. The strength you gave without asking for credit, it's finally returned. Not as compliments, but as invitations. Let me tell you about Julian, a Capricorn executive who once worked behind the curtain of a Fortune 500 company. He was the strategist's strategist. He made everyone else look good, but when leadership changes came, no one nominated him. He didn't lobby for it either. He stayed steady, focused. Then, during a powerful solar transit like this one, everything shifted. The company hit a crisis. Someone remembered Julian, the one who never asked for praise, but always delivered. Within weeks, he wasn't just promoted, he was placed in charge. But here's the part that moved him most. They didn't pick him because he spoke the loudest. They picked him because they trusted him. Capricorn, that's what the sun brings this July. Earned recognition. Not surface praise, but deep trust, respect, authority. So what can you expect? A project you've nurtured quietly may be showcased publicly. Someone in a position of influence might single you out in a way that catches even you off guard. You may be asked to lead, not just manage, to shape the future of something bigger than your title. This solar alignment works best when you claim it. Capricorns often hesitate to shine. You prefer to let results speak. And they do. But during this window, the universe is asking, can you speak too? Can you step forward, not as a reaction, but as a leader who already knows they belong at the table? Between July 13th and 27th, initiate the conversation. Set the meeting, pitch the idea, suggest the new structure. Don't wait to be picked. You've already been chosen by time, by effort, by results. And here's the deeper truth. This solar placement isn't just about what you do, it's about how you're remembered. This is your legacy moment, a brief but brilliant phase where the light doesn't blind you, it confirms you, where the world stops asking, "What have you done for us lately?" and starts saying, "What would we do without you?" Capricorn, the world needs more than managers. It needs architects, visionaries, builders of what lasts. And the sun, for this one moment, is illuminating you not as someone in the background, but as the foundation. So don't dim, don't deflect. Stand tall in the light you earned. Because this is what happens when the mountain goat reaches high enough, the whole sky begins to notice. Reason 8. Jupiter brings recognition from influential eyes. Capricorn, if there's one thing you've learned on your journey, it's this. You can't force timing. You can only prepare for the moment it finally arrives. And for you, that moment is here. In the final stretch of July, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wisdom, and higher favor, forms a precise aspect to your career house. And when Jupiter touches this part of your chart, it doesn't just bring praise, it brings elevation. But here's the twist most people miss. Jupiter isn't blessing your latest work. Jupiter is honoring what you did months, even years ago. The choices you made when no one was watching, the hours you worked without validation, the standards you upheld even when they cost you. Capricorn, the universe was keeping the receipts. And now, the right people are finally seeing the whole picture. Let me tell you about a Capricorn client of mine, Celine, a systems strategist for a mid-sized healthcare firm. Brilliant, exactings. For years, she quietly created the protocols that kept operations running like a machine. She wasn't flashy, she didn't network loudly, but she delivered every time. Then one summer, during a similar Jupiter alignment, an executive from another department cited one of her reports in a company-wide presentation. Suddenly, the board was asking, "Who wrote this? Why haven't we promoted her?" Celine didn't change anything about how she worked. What changed was who was finally paying attention. This is the energy of Jupiter's gaze in July. It's not the crowd watching. It's the key decision maker who's been quietly observing your consistency, your clarity, your contribution. And now they're ready to step forward with an offer, an opening, or a vote of confidence. What should you look for? A compliment or acknowledgement that seems out of nowhere, but lands deeply. Someone in authority referencing work you assumed had been forgotten. An invitation to take on more responsibility, not just as a worker, but as a vision holder. This recognition won't be loud, it won't come with flashing lights. It will come in the form of someone who says, "We've been watching, we want you to lead." And here's what's remarkable. This Jupiter influence aligns with the part of your chart governing long-term legacy. That means the rewards now aren't just short-term wins, they're foundation stones for the next chapter of your purpose. But you have to say yes, even if it feels too soon, even if you're not sure you're ready, you are. Capricorn, this isn't about being perfect, it's about being prepared. Because while others are rewarded for personality, you're rewarded for integrity. And Jupiter, the great cosmic judge, has finally made its ruling. You were right to keep going. So if the opportunity comes, take the meeting. If the recognition arrives, don't deflect it. If someone offers you the room, walk in. Because this isn't a detour, it's the path you've been walking all along, finally lit up. Reason 9. A hidden talent awakens Capricorn. You've always believed in hard work, in discipline, in results. But what if July reveals something deeper? Not what you earned, but what you were born with. Because sometimes the universe doesn't give you something new. It reminds you of something ancient, something that's been lying dormant inside you, waiting, ripening. In the final 10 days of July, a rare planetary configuration activates what astrologers call the Diamond of Revelation, a geometric pattern that unlocks latent gifts, often those you've dismissed, forgotten, or outgrown. This energy doesn't teach you a new skill, it reawakens an old truth. Capricorn, this is your moment of remembrance, and it usually doesn't feel like a thunderclap. It feels like a quiet click when something that never made sense suddenly does. Let me tell you about Henry, a Capricorn I mentored in his mid-40s, corporate strategist, brilliant mind, safe career, but behind closed doors, he used to write screenplays. He stopped at 30, told himself it was impractical, buried the dream under spreadsheets and structure. One July, during a similar astrological configuration, a colleague jokingly mentioned a podcast idea and asked Henry to write a concept, just for fun. He did. That podcast now has 4 million downloads. Henry runs the creative division of his own agency. He didn't become someone else, he just remembered who he already was. Capricorn, July may bring this kind of quiet miracle to you. The gift could emerge through a challenge that forces you into a new role, only to realize you're naturally good at it. A comment from someone who sees in you something you've overlooked. A task you've done 1,000 times that now feels different. It could be a talent for teaching, a natural gift for design, systems, or writing. A healing presence you've never taken seriously. Whatever it is, it won't feel random. It'll feel familiar, like a part of yourself has finally come home. What makes this astrological alignment especially sacred for Capricorn is its timing. These hidden talents are being revealed not as hobbies, but as solutions, as keys to the very doors you're trying to unlock. You've been working hard to reach your next level. But what if the thing that gets you there is something that's been waiting inside you all along? This isn't about starting over. It's about integrating what you've been ignoring. So here's your journal prompt, your cosmic challenge. What comes easy to me? So easy, I've undervalued it. Because the truth is, what comes easy to you is hard for others. And what you've called normal may actually be divine. Capricorn, you are not just a builder of systems. You are a carrier of codes, unique gifts that activate others when you use them. July gives you the first glimpse. Your job? To say yes, to experiment, to let it breathe. Because once this gift surfaces, it will never go back into hiding. It was never lost. It was simply waiting for you. Reason 10. A platform appears. Your voice reaches new territory. Capricorn, you never asked to be famous. You asked to be effective. You asked for impact, not noise. And because of that, you've often stayed in the background, letting others chase the spotlight while you quietly delivered the results. But what if I told you that this July, the spotlight finds you without you having to seek it? Between July 25th and July 31st, a rare alignment activates your public influence sector, a cosmic opening astrologers call the Sage's platform. And unlike superficial attention or viral trends, this is earned visibility. This is the universe saying, it's time for your wisdom to be heard beyond the walls you're used to. Let me tell you about Raven, a Capricorn writer and intuitive strategist. For years, she'd been crafting transformational content for CEOs, ghostwriting speeches that inspired thousands. all while remaining invisible herself. Then, one July, during this exact kind of transit, she was asked, last minute, to step in for a keynote speaker at a private summit. She almost declined, but something told her, this is it. She spoke from the heart, no fluff, just truth. And from that 20-minute talk came an avalanche, interviews, collaborations, global clients. Today, she runs her own institute, teaching others how to do what she once kept private. She didn't hustle for it. She answered the call. Capricorn, July may deliver your version of this moment. It might be a podcast asking for your perspective, a team needing your leadership in front of stakeholders, a project or post that unexpectedly goes viral, a client referring you to someone with serious reach. It might not even look big at first, a meeting, a comment, an email chain. But behind it is energy, the recognition of resonance. The right people are ready to hear you because you're no longer just the expert, you're becoming the voice. But here's the paradox, you don't need to change who you are to rise. You need to stop hiding the depth you've always carried. Capricorn, your voice is rare. It's not loud, it's not trendy, it's rooted, it's responsible, it's real. And right now, the world is starving for voices like that. So speak, lead, teach, write, guide, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you're used to operating in the shadows. This isn't about ego, it's about assignment. You didn't endure those private battles, carry those invisible loads, and sharpen your integrity in silence just to stay hidden forever. July brings the mic, not because you wanted it, but because you're finally ready to hold it well. So when the platform appears, no matter how small or unexpected, stand on it. Because what flows from you now, it's not just information, it's transmission. Reason 11, your vitality peaks, energy that lasts. Capricorn, let's be real. You're not the type to complain when you're tired. You push through, you show up, you get it done, whether your energy is at 100% or running on fumes. But what if I told you, this July, you won't have to grind your way forward anymore? Because in the third week of the month, something rare and restorative unfolds. Your mind, body, and spirit enter into energetic harmony. Astrologers call this pattern the sustainable vigor matrix. And unlike adrenaline highs that leave you drained, this is balanced vitality, the kind that feels clean, focused, and quietly powerful. This energy peak isn't just about feeling better, it's about feeling more like yourself before the stress, the pressure, the constant mental calculations. It's that rare moment where you work a full day and still have energy for your personal goals. You speak up, and your words feel crisp, clear, and centered. You face tension and respond, not react. Let me share the story of Ellis, a Capricorn who runs a non-profit. For years, she carried too much, took on every task, skipped meals, ignored rest. She believed that if she slowed down, everything would fall apart. One July, during a similar energy configuration, her schedule changed unexpectedly. She began starting each day with quiet walks, not to burn calories, but to breathe. That week, she said something surprising. I'm more productive now, and I feel less drained than ever. Turns out, she didn't need more energy. She needed to stop leaking it. Capricorn, that's your lesson this July. You don't need to do more. You need to honor your true energy rhythm. And this cosmic alignment helps you discover what that rhythm actually feels like, without crisis, without depletion. This may show up as realizing that certain environments leave you completely exhausted, and finally choosing to limit them. Discovering that one small change, hydration, movement, breathwork, completely resets your clarity. Feeling more present even during moments that used to cause stress, you'll also notice something deeper. With this kind of energetic upgrade, your intuition sharpens. You know when to rest. You know when to speak. You stop second-guessing yourself. Why? Because your inner compass isn't buried under exhaustion anymore. It's alive. Here's how to align with this energy. From July 15th to July 25th, keep track of when you feel most alive. What are you doing? Who are you around? What's missing? Reduce interactions that feel emotionally expensive but energetically bankrupt. Choose foods, conversations, and habits that stabilize your nervous system, not spike it. This isn't about becoming a wellness guru. It's about reclaiming the vitality you've earned, the kind that fuels vision, not just survival. Because the mountain goat doesn't sprint, it paces itself, and that's why it reaches summits others never even attempt. Capricorn, this isn't a temporary boost. It's a new baseline, a preview of what life can feel like when your energy works with you, not against you. You're not just getting stronger, you're becoming whole. Reason 12. The Destined encounter. A karmic meeting changes everything. Capricorn, everything in your chart, every struggle, every delay, every lesson has been leading to this. A moment when the universe brings someone across your path who changes everything, not because they complete you, but because they activate something in you that's been quietly waiting to emerge. Between July 22nd and July 28th, the skies open to a rare alignment, a sacred convergence that astrologers call the karmic gate. And through it steps someone you may not expect. But when they arrive, you'll know this isn't a casual meeting. It's not surface-level chemistry. It's a soul contract finally coming due. Let me explain. In karmic astrology, there are windows, thin spaces in time, where souls who were meant to meet can finally cross into each other's lives without interference. That window is now opening for you. This person may arrive in an unusual way, a connection that feels instantly familiar, even if you've never met. A conversation that starts casually but cuts straight to the core of something you've been trying to figure out for years. An individual who speaks a truth you haven't dared say aloud until now. This could be a mentor, a collaborator, a partner, or even someone who only stays for a season but leaves you permanently changed. Let me share the story of Dev, a Capricorn entrepreneur I once guided. For years, he struggled with expansion, not just in business, but in self-trust. He believed no one could carry the vision with him. Then, during a karmic window like this one, he was introduced to someone through a comment on a professional forum, a developer in another country. Their philosophies matched perfectly. Within 6 months, they'd co-founded a venture that transformed both of their lives. When I asked what made the difference, Dev said, "I didn't have to explain who I was, they just saw it, and I saw them." That's the nature of karmic encounters. They don't build trust, they reveal it. They don't feel new, they feel ancient. Capricorn, this meeting, if and when it happens, is not just about the person. It's about who you've become and what you're now ready to receive. Because let's be honest, you've walked alone for a long time. You've carried more than most. You've been the strong one, the planner, the fixer, the one others lean on. But this July, someone meets you at eye level, not to rescue you, not to use you, but to reflect you, clearly, deeply, and without distortion. You may be tempted to downplay it, to brush it off, to tell yourself it's just timing. But what if it's more? What if this is the relationship, personal or professional, that opens the door to your next decade? What if this connection reminds you that your journey was never meant to be solitary, only sovereign? Here's how to recognize it. The interaction feels easeful but meaningful, like you're skipping small talk and speaking soul to soul. You feel seen, not just appreciated. You suddenly remember a version of yourself you haven't met in years, and they help you unlock it. Capricorn, this isn't fate, this is fulfillment. Because when destiny finally catches up to someone as patient and purposeful as you, it doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with alignment so perfect, it makes your entire past make sense. So don't doubt what flows easily now. Not everything valuable has to be hard. When this person enters, let them. Because they're not interrupting your journey, they're written into it. Final reflection. July was never random. It was a divine sequence just for you. Capricorn, step back for a moment. Look at the trail behind you. Look at the summit ahead. Now, breathe. Because this July wasn't just a lucky month. It was a carefully orchestrated sequence of soul-aligned breakthroughs, timed, tailored, and tuned to the exact frequency of who you've become. From the first shift in Saturn's energy to the final destined encounter, every one of these 12 cosmic gifts wasn't about changing you. It was about revealing you. Revealing the leader beneath the labor, the visionary beneath the planner, the healer beneath the strategist, the whole self beneath the one who's always had to be strong. Because let's be honest, Capricorn's rewards never come fast. They come right on time. And this time, the time is now. You've waited in silence. You've worked in the shadows. You've poured into others while carrying your own load. But July is your mirror. It reflects back the value of your patience, the wisdom in your restraint, the courage behind your choices, the power you were never supposed to give away, but to grow into. The mountain is no longer above you, you're on it. And from here, the view is different. You're not just looking for your next goal. You're recognizing that everything you've built was preparing you to receive what can't be rushed. Clarity, connection, confidence, and karmic alignment. So here's what I ask you now. When the emails start landing, when the phone calls arrive, when the offers come through, when the doors unlock, will you be ready to walk through them, not as someone lucky, but as someone chosen? Because July wasn't about fate, it was about fulfillment. And as the final days of this sacred month unfold, don't just ask, what do I want next? Ask, what am I finally ready to accept? Because this month didn't just bring you blessings, it brought you back to yourself. Welcome home, Capricorn. You've earned this. Now, let it unfold. And if this message resonated, if you felt even one truth in your heart tonight, don't leave this space without claiming your place in it. Subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed, not just for horoscopes, but for wisdom. Not just for prediction, but for preparation. We're not just reading stars, we're decoding your destiny, one alignment at a time. Join this community of Capricorns who see the deeper path. Comment below. Tell us which of the 12 truths landed in your soul. We read every word, and don't forget to turn on the bell, because July isn't over, and neither are the miracles waiting for you. We'll walk with you every step up the mountain.